Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. My name is Fran, and I am one of the co-hosts for this podcast, and we're so glad that you're here. It's our final conversation of season 4, and we are talking about all the things. We are talking about the book club coming up in June. You're going to want all those details. Of course, Angela gives us a big old swan update. Maybe I should say a baby swan update. And then we talk about episodes from the past, food, and then, of course, Jesus. We love you guys so much. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Angela Snyder, this is the final podcast of season 4.
How strange.
Oh my gosh.
How did we get here so quickly?
And you know, I was thinking about it this morning in the fact that doesn't, we've said this before, but it doesn't sound like a lot, 151 episodes. But then you think about every single week, 8 months or so out of the year, we are releasing a podcast, and that's a lot of episodes.
It's a lot of conversation.
A lot of rambling.
Which would mean not one thing without the people listening.
That's right.
Who are so kind and precious. Y'all, please keep reaching out to us because we really do pretend like we're all sitting around a table at a coffee shop having a conversation.
Yeah, here we all are together.
And when y'all reach out to us, we're like, oh, good.
Yeah.
There are a few people.
Let's give them a round of applause, Angela.
Yes.
Are we ready?
All the rounds of applauses. And when we pulled up, you know, we record on campus at Union University. We pulled up this morning to the studio and nobody's here.
Ain't a soul here.
We miss you. I know.
Has come and gone. Ain't a soul here.
We miss you, college people.
I know. Happy summer, everybody.
Happy summer. We're recording this on Saturday, May 11th. That releases in 2 days on Monday. Today is graduation day
for some high school students.
Some high schoolers. So if you're a mama listening and you've got a graduate, thoughts and prayers and hugs and encouragement to you, because your best days with your kids really are ahead.
Yes, they're very different days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're not going to do a podcast episode on that, but it's just that figuring out this new season with your child, whether it's your first, second, third, or fourth. You know, I was emotional with all of my kids. All of my kids have graduated high school and college. And so I've felt different things with all of them, but I wasn't the one that was like, oh, yay, we're all finally done. It's just, you recognize that you're losing that season.
Mm-hmm.
That season you're never going to have again, and you just don't know what to do with it. And it just feels so strange. And so, as Angela and I say often, be kind to yourself as you figure it out. Be very gracious to yourself and to your student, because they're figuring things out too. And it can be wonkety, but it's also once you find your groove or feel a little bit more settled and stable, it really is the most fun years.
It is. And I think that season, going through that with Kaylee, who will be a college senior in the fall. So here we go again. But I did not realize, I think somewhere, which looking back, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. How many times do I say this? Every day. But looking back, like, I think I was trying to make her feel loved by saying things that I was feeling. And then finally she was like, will you please stop saying that?
Give me an example. What are you talking about?
Just like as I would realize how much I'd miss her. Or,
oh, yes.
You know, and I would say, oh, Kaylee, it's just going to be so hard without you here.
Right.
Why would I say that?
Or like I would, yes. And it's coming from a genuine place.
Yeah. Like I wanted her to know that she mattered and that we would notice that she was no longer in our household.
I would say things like, and to this day, not so much anymore. Like once they become adults on their own, which my kids are, they're on their own. I would say things like, don't you want to come home? And they'd be like, no, not really. Like they've moved on.
I'm independent.
Let me say this really quick. And then again, this is not an episode on this. We don't want to spend too much time here. We'd love to talk to you about it if you have questions. But the transition from if they haven't graduated, but they're coming home for the summer, parents, let me just remind you or tell you this, that home to your college student feels very different because they have established their home, I'm putting quotes around that, at college. And so for a lot of students, they're just like, they don't, I don't want to say they don't want to be there. It just feels different for them.
Well, and I want to throw this in quickly too. This morning I had sent some text and some prayers to some high school senior mamas that I've gotten really close to. And then as I was looking at the graduates from our school, I realized that we have some friends whose child is going to Sanford, where my daughter is. So I sent them a text and was just like, hey, I'm so excited for y'all. I'm praying for you today. Let me know if we can help you. Here's what we love about, where you're headed and restaurants and churches and all the things. And they were so happy to hear, and it made them feel better. So if you're in that season ahead of a graduate, reach back to the families who are sitting there. Don't feel like they already know the things, because I was kind of hesitant, like, am I overstepping? Do they need to hear from me right now?
They do.
But it was so sweet to have that conversation with them, and then them say, oh my goodness, thank you. You've made me feel better. Can we please, send me everything I need to know? We have favorite hotels and discount codes when we stay there, and where we, just anyway, don't hold back. If you know something about the season somebody's headed into, reach out to them. Yeah. And don't feel like they already have somebody doing that. Yeah. You can't have enough people loving on you when you're sending your child somewhere unknown. That's right.
Okay. Then the other thing we want to talk about really quickly before Angela presents us with her outline. Her podcast
and
outline.
See, I don't even know where you're headed in the middle of the outline.
Yeah, you do.
So here
the
we
book,
go.
The book. Okay, so really quick that, oh my God, we're so excited. Untangle Your Emotions by Jennie Allen.
Have you got yours?
No, it's in my
I'll
purse.
Hold mine up. Look, there it is.
If you're watching, there it is on YouTube. Order that or buy it at your local bookstore. Untangle Your Emotions by Jennie Allen. Shout out to our podcast listener, BFF. Oh my God, incredible human being, Meredith, who is doing a lot of just very helpful administrative work for us regarding this book club. We're going to all read it together. Angela and I are going to produce videos. It's not going to be anything in person. It is all going to be in the month of June, maybe bleed over into the month of July, whatever. That's totally fine. But it will begin June the 4th. So we will make sure that between now and then, we're sharing a link we want you to fill out, just a basic form with your email and possibly a cell phone number if we decide to use a free trial to text you, because I don't want to pay for a texting service, even though in my mind I want to do that, but I'm not going to do that unless Angela wants to do that.
I always want to do that. Fran knows all the technology, and I'm like, I don't know. I'll just throw money at something. So we'll see what that looks like.
If we can find a good deal, we might be texting you too. But anyway, it'll be just a quick form so that we can gather all the people so that we're emailing you and texting you, in addition to putting video discussions that we record and we release every Tuesday. So it won't be here on the podcast. We're not going to present it to you in this format. It's all going to be on YouTube, and we'll just share the link like in our social medias and post it there, but there's not going to be a podcast recording for that. We're doing that for you in video on YouTube. So excited.
This was inspired by Dr. Dub using the word colloquium.
Yeah, which I'm still not going to say or spell.
I hope I said that correctly. However, if the word colloquium or the words book club make you feel some anxiety because it's summer and that sounds heavy and hard, and you think that might be scary to you, let me say this. I have listened to the first 3 chapters of this book on Audible as I've walked, doing my, I don't want to hurt somebody or think unkind things. Let me go for a walk. I just needed to decompress this week. A lot has happened, and I'm good. That sounded a little crazy, but anyway. Appropriately, this book is called Untangle Your Emotions, naming what you feel and knowing what to do about it. I'm just going to say this really quick as a commercial for what we're doing with this book. I told you before we recorded, I talked to my sister briefly this week, and I was able to give her advice, not even consciously, just spitting things out that I had just heard Jennie Allen say. And my sister said, well, aren't you doing the hard work in therapy? That sounded so wise. And I said, you know what? That honestly came from Jennie Allen 10 minutes ago. This book, I love this book because it doesn't replace therapy, but it is so healthy and wise. And I have already related to so many things in it about how we just want to push past whatever and run full steam into fix-it mode, or let's just smile and carry on, or whatever. And there's so much health ahead for us if we're willing to just jump in. And it's not going to be scary and hard. We're going to do this together.
Well, and even if you don't want to read it, you just want to watch the videos or get our emails, that's fine too. Still fill out the Google form that we will share with everybody. Invite your friends. There's not a wrong way to go about it.
Right.
Okay. So just, again, be kind to yourself and do whatever you want to do.
It's summer. There's no rules.
Yeah, that's right.
And my little nephew, Emmett, that remember we talked about him going on the camp out where you had to
pack two things.
It had to fit in your pocket or a Altoid can or whatever. So my sister told me, well, the book is Untangle Your Emotions. They talk about knots, and there are people who have this society of studying knots and how to untangle knots, like not in a spiritual way, just a knotted up rope. I thought about my jewelry. I get knots in a necklace chain, and it's the most horrible thing. But Jennie Allen says, you hold up the knot to the light, and when the light shines through it, you can see the path to unravel the knot. And for us, that light is Jesus Christ. So I think it would be fun, and I don't even know where we're going to go with this, but my little nephew, Emmett, middle school boy, is a knot expert of sorts within his little Boy Scout troop. So I think we need to talk to Emmett at some point about knots.
Or get Danielle to make a video of him doing that, and we could share that for sure.
So anyway, no telling where we're going with all this, but it will be wonderful.
Well, and just, Angela and I have a history of years of having Bible study at her barn, and it's evolved. It kind of began to have a different format because of COVID. And so this is just a way for us to continue to have conversation with you and talk to you about the things that we're learning. And y'all know that we will have fun with this. It will be it'll be a balance of the serious and the not so serious, because that's just who we are. And it's what we need to do with anything that we read.
It will be rooted in Scripture. We promise to point you to Jesus.
Yes.
But we'll have fun.
We're going to have fun. Okay. So be looking for that.
Okay. Speaking of the barn, last night we went to dinner. We got home about 10 o'clock. And I love, sometimes you're just...
Got home at 10 o'clock?
Well, that was crazy. I also took a 2-hour nap.
Oh, my God.
I don't usually take naps. We went to the Strawberry Festival parade yesterday in West Tennessee, which is such a big deal if you are a local person. I got a little bit sunburned and whole lot exhausted. I had 12,000 steps.
Oh, God.
So I came home and crashed out and took a 2-hour nap.
Yeah, you did.
I got home at 10 p.m. and was okay about it. But... which is rare. Welcome to middle age. But we had seen in the news that the Northern Lights might be visible. And I don't know if y'all remember this, but 2 Septembers ago for our anniversary trip, we went to Alaska for our 25th anniversary with the goal of seeing the Northern Lights. At one point, we sat in a car overlooking a field at 3 a.m. to try to see glimpses of the Northern Lights. What I saw from my backyard in West Tennessee last night put all of that to shame.
Who'd have thunk?
Who would have thought? This morning on the news, there was a picture from Gulf Shores, Alabama, with a palm tree. A palm tree with Northern Lights in the background.
That's crazy.
My husband said, "Thank you, Lord, for saving me from spending money to go to Iceland or Norway or wherever, because I don't know that we'll ever see a show that rivals this."
Think about the fact that we've experienced the solar eclipse, the type of solar eclipse that we have had, and then now this. It's kind of like,
what you doing, Lord?
What's going on?
It was not lost on me as I'm staring up at the stars, because we love sunsets and sunrises, and the Lord just speaks to us through clouds, and I feel so close to the Lord, and you do too when we're looking up to the heavens. And it was so precious looking at all those stars. My 15-year-old son, let me back up. We saw a falling star when we first got out of the car. And Cole said, I have never seen a falling star before. And it was such a sweet family moment for us to be there together. But I just thought, all with the eclipse and with this, we're looking up to the heavens. Like the Lord is drawing us in, going, okay, whatever you think is so important down there, let me remind you, eyes up. Look up here to me. So it was just sweet and fun. We can share. I blew up social media with pictures
and stuff. I've seen some really, really pretty ones. Did I get a picture? No. Okay, since we're talking about the barn, y'all, if you care about this or don't care about this, would you just indulge us for just maybe 4 minutes about these swans? Because we did post in our Instagram stories an update. A baby swan was born, found its way out of the egg, and we need an update on the swans. I cannot tell you how. This might be the most invested I've been in this journey that we've had over the years with different babies. But
maybe this will make its way into the children's book. We've got quite the swan saga.
Hey.
Okay, so we do have one baby. We have had on our calendar, we have a shared family calendar like some of you probably do. And I have noticed it said swan hatch date. And it was always somewhere around Mother's Day. And it started last Monday, I believe, and goes through Monday, the day that this podcast releases, in 2 days. So generally, there's a window of time. This is a first-time mama, and she was not sitting on her nest as often as the prior mama that we had that hatched eggs last year. So we don't know if all 7 eggs will hatch. So far, 1 has, and we're hoping and praying we'll have 6 more that hatch.
Makes me so sad.
I know, because there's potential.
I know.
But you just don't always know. So last, I don't know what day, Thursday maybe?
Last week.
We had some really terrible storm potential.
Y'all, we were between the swan eggs and our volleyball tree, we were a little worked up over nature.
And I had talked to my sister. She was worried about her plants.
Like, welcome to the geriatric podcast.
Welcome to the botany club.
Yeah.
So we've got a tree, we've got plants, we've got these swan babies. But
and keep in mind, like if you haven't seen, the nest is just, she's exposed to the elements. She ain't in a house, y'all.
There's no roof.
No, there's no roof. She is like up against the bank of the pond, and I think that's on purpose so that she's not floating around out there.
But she can't be too close, or a predator or fox could step into the water.
So she's
crazy.
Exposed to sitting there, and I was going to bed that night thinking, Lord, please watch over Mama, because she would stay there.
And we prayed that.
And the Lord answered our prayers.
He answered, because we were under a tornado threat.
Yes, we were.
And places not far from us did have some really serious storms. And even though I've seen her, and it's so incredible how she buries her head completely down into her feathers under her wing, and then her whole body is on top of these eggs. But then that day we had the one little baby. And Carl told me all day he was agonizing over, do I remove that baby? Because if that baby makes it into the water and then Mama does not want to get off the nest with the eggs, that baby is in danger. So
they don't come out just like knowing how to swim immediately. Well, or was it more about...
They do, but the baby couldn't get back into the box.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't nurse, so they have to eat and drink out of the water.
They don't nurse.
But then...
See, the things that you like, I've never considered.
I've never thought about it until you asked me. And I was like, what is he going to eat and drink? How does this work?
I'm asking all the questions in the Carl, Angela, and Fran group text.
Yes. So Carl all day said, if I remove the baby and put the baby under the heat lamp at home and the baby dies, I'll feel terrible. But if I leave the baby with the mama and the mama is more preoccupied with the eggs and the baby dies, I will feel terrible. And y'all, this man was grieving this decision. Like, I don't know what to do.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. Well, he came home around lunchtime and went to check on them, and the daddy and the baby were sitting on the bank and then got down in the water. And he said the mama was just doing her thing with the eggs. And he said, I knew in that moment, I need to pull this baby, keep this baby safe, and see what happens with the rest. So this little baby has been in my house under a heat lamp. This little gray swan baby. And now Carl has a theory, since Reba was the only gray baby last year and Reba turned out to be a dude. Reba's the daddy of this baby.
Right. Rebo.
So, and Mama Swan is just named Mama Swan. She has no name. So we've got Reba and Mama Swan. And then this baby that Atlas named Brownie.
Okay, y'all, we have a name. Because
a very gray baby swan is named Brownie.
Brownie.
And Carl has a theory that since the baby is gray, that maybe it's a boy. We don't know yet, but stay tuned.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Anybody out there listening know how to determine if a swan is a boy or a girl?
You know, that's a biology lesson for somebody smarter than me. But yeah,
So has he grown? Can you tell if he's grown? And then tell us just quickly, how is he eating? What kind of special food does Brownie have under this little heat lamp? He is living his best life, y'all.
He really is, because he's on one of my best beach towels. I asked Carl to get a beach towel to put him on, and of course, only the finest will do. So I know Carl handpicks clover. From the ground to put in, because our swans, the parents like to they'll go wherever around the pond they can find a fresh patch of clover. So he picks some clover. He has some, what did he tell us? Mealworms or something?
I just remember it was like some grass type, green and worms. Like that's all I remember thinking. Something green and some worms.
So he had been gone. I don't even remember what all he had that day. He had a lot going on. He had been up and down the ladder hanging fabric, and he was so exhausted. But he got back in his truck and went back to Tractor Supply when he realized Brownie was coming in the house to roll out the red carpet for this baby swan about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So he had food. He had a brand new heat lamp. He had all the things. There's a little water dispenser. So my question to Carl is, when you approach Brownie's little box, he starts getting all excited and making these little noises. And I thought he was saying, I'm lonely, pick me up and love on me. But Carl thinks I'm startling him and he's just freaking out.
Oh,
so
no.
I don't know if he's excited or terrified of me. But
he's not. Carl's being funny when he says that.
I would hope so.
I think he's excited because he doesn't know. This is all he knows.
Do you remember, is it a Dr. Seuss book that Are You My Mother?
Yeah, Are You My Mother?
So
now, at some
I can be his mother.
Do we put Brownie back with its mom?
Yes.
And is she going to receive him okay?
Carl says yes.
Okay.
Carl said that as of Monday, we'll know what happens with these other eggs.
We're not talking about what happens with these other eggs, y'all.
Because we've had to do this before. I know. If they don't hatch, you do have to remove the eggs because the mama will sit there forever.
We're not talking about it, Angela. We're not talking about it.
I know. So all that to say, stay tuned. We'll know next week how large our swan family is. And the first round of Mick and Eden's eggs never hatched at all. So usually it takes some time and several years to even have swan babies.
Listen, I'm just fascinated by the whole thing.
I know. It's so fun. And everything survived the storm. So yay for all of that.
Yeah. So did the volleyball tree. I know y'all aren't wondering about that either, but...
And you sent me the funniest meme of, we're a little bit, the way the swan mama's face and eyes are like, do not mess with me.
She's intense. It's like cat eyes, and I feel like they're squinted. It's like having lots of eyeliner on the top and bottom, and it just like she's got these intense eyes.
She peers at you.
Yes, and I feel like she's just judging me.
She's very judgmental in her, you better back off and not mess with me.
Like she don't play.
She does not play. But also when we first went down there and saw her baby, she was also really puffed up like, look what I did. I'm so proud.
Okay, really quick. Can we talk about the fact, y'all, I'm so sorry. We're going to move on. We're going to move on.
It's Mother's Day weekend. We got to talk about swan mamas.
We are going to move on, I promise. The fact that Carl went to see the other swan that y'all released.
Oh my goodness.
That you took down the road. Angela sends me this video of Carl. This is, what's his name?
Mick Swagger.
Mick Swagger. I was about to say Mick Swan, and I was like, that is not right. Mick Swagger.
The original swan.
Yeah, the original swan. And so you all had to depart with him, and you took him down the road to another fabulous body of water where he could live his best life.
With his woman.
And Carl and Angela go. and check on him and see him. And then there's Carl talking to him. This is why I love it so much. Talking to him and just, hey, buddy. That's not exactly what he said, but, hey, buddy, it looks like you're doing okay. And I just thought, this is the most precious thing to me. Like, I loved that video so very much.
Well, when you think about, a burly man that's just doing all the man things, but so tender and gentle with a bird. And then you think about how the Lord in Scripture, knows the feathers and knows the hair on our head. And if he would care for a sparrow, of course there's just so much there that really speaks to our
precious
hearts, but it is just so sweet. And yes, Carl and Mickey have conversations, and I snuck in a recording of one, and I almost cried because it was
Maybe we'll share that. Would he be okay if we shared that in stories?
He didn't sign a waiver, but we're going to do it anyway. We don't need his permission. He won't care. Okay, so Rachel Mitchell was on episode 150.
Yes.
Y'all loved her as much as we do. We knew that you would.
Somebody texted me the other day, and they were like, how much protein did she say that we're supposed to eat? And I started thinking, I thought, well, I'm pretty sure that's the point in the conversation where she said, like if you weigh 120 pounds and that's how much grams or ounces, whatever, of protein you're supposed to have. And that's where we got tickled because in my mind, I'm thinking 500, like it just seemed like this enormous number.
I haven't weighed 120 since college. We ain't going there. And I will do not ask me how many grams I need. That is classified information.
But that was great. That was so helpful.
So that has spun into, and now you know how the algorithm is. Everything now on TikTok, Instagram is all these influencers telling me how to use cottage cheese to meet my protein goals. Or whatever. So you and I have had some fun conversations this week about, okay, I've not eaten enough. Where do I find protein?
I'm a terrible eater.
Well, I sent you straight to the gas station.
Which was hilarious because I think that was a day where I was just
busy.
I don't know what it is. But I had eaten whatever I had eaten. It felt like two things, and those two things might as well have been a walnut and a half a slice of an apple. Like it was nothing. It was nothing. And I know that's terrible, and I get it. And I had to go work out that night. I was going to do a class, and I was like, well, A of all, I haven't eaten right. B of all, I've had negative grams, ounces of protein. Like, Angela, help.
So I told you.
Yeah, go to the gas station.
Go to the gas station across the street from Pure Bar, and your whole life will be fixed. You will be so proud of yourself. Core Power, these Fairlife chocolate milkshakes.
I've seen them everywhere.
They taste like chocolate milk. One has 30-something grams and one has 42 grams of protein. Everybody's figured that out, so you can't find them. Sam's usually has them. You can order them. They'll be there in 2 days, and you don't have to haul that thing around and load it into your car. But you can go to a gas station and get a stick of turkey jerky or beef jerky. You can get a Core Life.
I ain't getting no
Core Power
turkey jerky. I hate beef jerky.
Well, it's called Chomps, CHOMPS.
That sounds worse.
And it's not greasy, and it tastes good. Anyway, if you're interested in that, I have found that to be a fun little snack because I can throw it in my purse and forget about it for 2 weeks, and it hasn't gone bad.
You gnawing on a stick?
Pretty much. I can't tell you how many times. I love the high protein yogurt, but I'll throw that in my purse and find it a week later. And you can't eat that like you can a turkey jerky.
Angela Snyder. Oh,
nobody is surprised by this.
No.
Nobody's shocked by this.
Next season, we're going to play a game once a month. Angela, tell us what's in your purse.
The only thing more incredible than that is what's in my car. Incredible, disgusting, impressive. You pick the word. But anyway. Okay, so also, I'm going to change the subject, but kind of not really. I made a taco salad.
Yes.
That was really, really good. We could eat Mexican every day.
Yes. Let's talk about this because here's what's funny about this. You're going to share the ingredients with this, okay? And I have a couple of comments to make about Okay, you share the ingredients, and I've got a couple of comments to make.
Well, let me back up and say, in this protein, like we just need to hit our protein goals. If you try to get around 30 grams per meal, like it becomes easier, 30 to 40 grams.
And Rachel, when I texted her, she said, kind of use the palm of your hand, like that much.
Yeah. That's a serving of like 30 grams or whatever.
Yeah, so just envision, can it fit in the palm of your hand, whatever it is.
So I decided I'm not real good at all the prep and the planning and all the things. That's a struggle for me. But I really could reheat and continue eating every single day some things. And one of them is this taco salad that Rachel taught me about. So you do ground turkey or lean ground beef, lots of protein in both of those. You mix in some taco sauce. You mix in a can of black beans, rinse those off, high protein, high fiber. A can of shoe peg corn. Fran.
Keep going, or would you like for me to make my comment now?
We'll come back.
Okay.
We'll come back to shoe peg corn. I love sour cream. I have learned to replace it with plain yogurt, Greek yogurt, and it tastes just like sour cream if I stir it in.
That's a stretch for me. I don't know if I could do that psychologically. I would need...
It has to be a mix-in. If I stir it into something, I don't notice it.
Okay. Oh, that gives me chills to
kind
of consider.
I know. I can eat sour cream just on tortilla chips and be very happy. But you put all that over lettuce, a little bit of shredded cheese. I did a can of Rotel tomatoes in there.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
And Quest chips are high protein, and they're just like nacho cheese Doritos, or they have a taco seasoning kind. And I just crush those and sprinkle those on the top of the taco salad. And it is probably like 40 or 50 grams of protein.
Because you need that crunch.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to the corn. So Angela and I, she's telling me about this. And you know how just sometimes... Some days she tells me things and I'm just like, I don't think a whole lot about it. But in that moment, I happened to be at home. I remember being at home. I had run home for lunch to let the dogs out. And somehow we're sending these boxers back and forth. And she says the word, like she said, I don't even know that I would say shoe peg corn. I think I would have just said corn.
There's a difference.
There's a difference, apparently. And when she said shoe peg, I laughed out loud. I was like, time out. What in the Sam heck is a shoe peg?
Do I sound like cooking with KK? Like I know my way around the kitchen? That's what makes it funnier is I'm not a culinary goddess. Like this is not something I should even know about.
But you were rattling off these ingredients like
I knew what I was doing.
And that's a whole nother subject in and of itself because Angela says...
It's my superpower.
It is her superpower. She says all the time, I talk about things and have no idea what I'm talking about and say things that in your mind as you're saying it, you're thinking, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if it's how God made me. I don't know if it's continued to be refined in my training as an attorney. But I will get halfway through a paragraph of an answer to somebody's question, or not even their question. I have interjected myself and my words into their life. And about halfway through, I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Why am I talking right now?
But as an attorney, I would never sit there and think, you don't know what you're talking about, because I'm convinced, she knows what she's talking about. So if she says shoe peg corn, I don't even remember. She doesn't like to cook. She's not cooking with KK. But I believe her wholeheartedly because she used the word shoe peg corn.
I have sold you on my my ability to answer questions.
So what is a shoe peg?
Shoe peg is also known as white corn, like the summer corn. So like the golden sweet corn, yellow corn in a can. Versus shoe peg that's smaller and very white. And I just like it better.
Oh, okay.
I like it better in taco soup. I like it better in taco salad.
Sure, there's a difference. I never thought about it. That's terrible.
Now all of our corn lives have been revolutionized in this one podcast that has nothing to do with cooking.
You are going to learn everything about swans and corn.
You can also get the shoe peg corn in a freezer bag and not just because the cans are tiny.
Yeah.
It's not enough. And then the other thing I'll mention real quick, because we're all trying to eat better and be on the go and whatever. But my other thing I told you was the Panera fruit salad with the grilled chicken and the strawberries and the mandarin oranges and the blueberries.
I have a question about that. First of all, download the Panera app, which I had to do that because I don't go to Panera so much anymore. I used to love Panera, and then something happened with Panera, and I don't know. I just quit going. But now that I'm, trying to be mindful of all the things, when you sent me that salad and said, like you order it from the app, I was like, oh, I don't even have the app anymore. So download the app. My second question about that salad is, well, first of all, say the name again. What is it?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. It's a chicken poppy seed fruit salad, I think.
Because in our conversation with Rachel, we were talking about dressing. What do you get that on the side, the dressing that comes with it?
And they give you 4. It's like 2 of the poppy seed and 2 of a creamy. So I try to just use 1 of each.
Okay.
And what I do is I drizzle them over the top, put the lid back on, and shake it really hard. Okay. And that really makes it go a lot further. And I will also say this. They put toasted pecans on that salad. Toasted pecans take anything to the next level. Put toasted pecans on anything, and I'm here for it.
100%.
I will never toast some pecans in my house.
No, never.
But
I'll purchase it all day long.
It makes every salad my favorite thing in the whole wide world. So
okay, I love that. That's good to know.
And the last thing I'm going to say about food, and then we're going to move on. I found some low sugar, high protein cheesecakes through an Instagram ad. I've made a lot of bad Instagram purchases.
Shocker, y'all. Through an Instagram ad that she probably purchased at 11:45 p.m.
Oh, no doubt. And I'm supposed to talk to Fran first for accountability, but it was too late, so I just went for it.
But I can't believe you ordered it, because I would be like, that's a little risky. It probably was $99.99.
And they came through the mail frozen. I was like, how are you going to do this? But they did. They anyway, it comes in a box with some dry ice. Anyway, it's called Wonder Monday. If we were savvy and had affiliate links and codes and things, but we don't
want to do that for us over the summer.
Yeah, we don't, and we're not making money off anything we recommend. We just like it and want y'all to know about it. But they had a plain cheesecake, a strawberry, a key lime, and a chocolate. They're tiny, but they're just enough, and they are good. Like, I don't eat this and go, well, that would be good if it was a real cheesecake, but it tasted like
How much was it?
I don't remember.
Okay. We'll only share it with you if we feel like it's within reason.
I know. And then I saw just on Instagram, this is the other thing I'm getting. I'm either getting legitimate, like, here's how to do this, or I'm getting the jokes about doing this, because this popped up and said, I'm tired of people saying, here's my go-to lazy meal, and then they start chopping an onion.
No.
I don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that. And I responded back and said, for years, I've been talking about, I just want to grow a simple tomato plant, like literally in a pot that you get at Lowe's, for crying out loud. Because I know that I can't plant it in the ground, and I know that I'm not capable of that just yet. So I want to like plant the tomato, eat the tomato, but I also want, a whole bag of chips. So it's just this weird, it's just this thing, like your mind says, yes, I want to do all these things. And then the other half of your mind is like, forget it. Give me the,
let's be real. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of funny Instagram, I saw this and I knew immediately my answer. And I want to know if you have an answer to this question.
You've not asked me this before?
No.
Oh, no.
I've never considered this before.
Oh, no. I'm terrible on the spot, but okay.
But, well, I think the listeners will have something to say about this too. So if you're listening, we want you to message us your answer to this question if you have one, and I think you will.
Okay.
This says, my daughter is in her school spelling bee, and I assured her that for the rest of her life, she will know how to accurately spell the word that takes her out. My mind immediately flashed back to St. Mary's School in the 5th grade, and the word was anoint. And I put 2 N's in anoint.
Oh, I just did in my mind just then.
And that got me sent home from the spelling bee, and I know for the rest of my days, at 48 years old, that anoint has 1 N.
Okay.
And I will spell it correctly forevermore.
Well, my word, we've talked about this before on the podcast because I embarrass myself in Bible study. So the very first word that pops into my mind is epitome.
Yes.
Because
epitome.
It's epitome. So
every time I see that word in my mind, I say epitome because of you, Fran.
So if you say, Fran, spell the word epitome, my brain just like all the lines in my brain are just haywire and they're chaotic, and it's not like a straight, even level thought. It's just chaotic in my brain all of a sudden because it's panic. It's absolute panic.
I do that with Wednesday.
February. Like, how old are we, y'all? Okay, anything else before we wrap up?
Well, just summer is coming, so we've got to make sure we all
Book study.
And just fun things coming up. We're going to Boston Memorial Day. If anybody has Boston recommendations, send them my way. Kaylee's going to Kenya
on
a mission trip. That'll be fun.
My favorite place in all the world.
I wish you could go with her. Do you have anything you want to say about summer? And then I want you to talk about your spiral.
No, we don't know. I don't know if we're going, we haven't talked about a vacation. The other part of when your children are older and they have like a work schedule, that's like, that's strange. So I don't know what we're doing for vacation. We have to move Clay in Chicago. He's been in Chicago, but we've got to go through that. So our vacation might be that. I don't know.
He's already had some big adventures on these airplanes.
Listen, he's working for an airline and
dream job.
He gets to travel for free. And as soon as I send him a copy of my birth certificate, then I will be entered into the system and can do that. I've taken my sweet time doing that. But anyway, I'm going to the Dominican in July on a mission trip. So I'm super excited about that. I love it. But there was something else I was going to say about summer, but I don't know. Anyway.
Travel.
Don't
Fun.
know.
I will say this super quick, and then I want you to tell us about your
We need to talk about something spiritual.
I know, we will. Dr. Dub recommended this book. I'm holding it up if you're watching on YouTube. It's called Reforesting Faith, What Trees Teach Us About the Nature of God and His Love for Us by Matthew Sleeth, MD. And we, on the last podcast or the one 2 weeks ago, we talked about how there's a tree on the first page of Genesis, in the Psalms, in the New Testament, on the last page of Revelation. Jesus gave his life for us on a tree. It really is beautiful and precious how we will be outdoors more this summer and just being aware of creation and trees and the skies and just all the things. But if any of that resonates with you, this is such a great book recommendation. It is easy. It is light. And it just really has given me so much to consider and be grateful for. So.
I can't wait I will open it up after we get done with Untangle Your Emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we haven't talked about this much. We haven't talked about spiritual disciplines a whole lot this year, really. Maybe
it's been a while. We talked about your first few verses.
Yeah.
We need to pick that back up.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is my handy dandy spiral. I add a new verse every 2 weeks. So I just wanted to share my last couple of verses and really just remind you of this discipline, because even though summer may feel like, this is not the time for me to start a spiritual discipline, I think it can be, because if your kids are in school, you don't have all that going on. And so it might be an easier time to start this. There's never a bad time to start this discipline. But anyway, like for example, one of the verses that I picked, I don't have these dated, and man, I wish I would have. I could go back and do that. But one of my verses that I picked is just a simple verse. It's familiar to all of you all, out of Nehemiah. It says, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." I know why I chose that verse. It's coming off of a mission trip that we did with the university. And I wrote on the back of that is, "Am I exemplifying joy when I work?"
Oh.
And I wanted to be mindful of being a joyful person when I work, because if the joy of the Lord is my strength, that when I hear that strength, it's like it's not something that is just coming naturally to me, that it's requiring some strength, some intentionality, some greater focus. And sometimes, it's easy to be joyful when it's easy. It's harder to be joyful when it's hard. The last verse, the last couple of verses that I chose, and I chose this for the volleyball, because of the volleyball team, because of the tree that we planted. And that verse is 2 Peter 3:18 that says, "Grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. To him be glory both now and forever." Grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Grow in the grace and knowledge. This is not a memory verse, but this is something that I thought of the other day when I was driving to work. Y'all are very familiar with Proverbs 3:5 and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." hang on, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and all your ways acknowledge him. He will make your path straight, something like that. I got hung up on in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. You know how like when we're praying and considering something, we kind of, and we use that verse. I think that for me, and often I bet for you too, that we just go to the part and our brain focuses on the part of make our path straight. And we forget the in all your ways acknowledge him. Like you have to acknowledging him is first. And I just got stuck there thinking, I'm just asking the Lord to make my path straight. I'm not considering I need to acknowledge you as I'm asking you to make my path straight. Am I paying attention to you in all the ways, places, and things and people? Because those places, things, and people are probably maybe a part of making the path straight.
And what a discipline that is.
Yes.
Because we pause and acknowledge God is holy before we run into asking him for the things.
Right.
I forget that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's never too late. Pick up a spiral, choose simple verses if it feels overwhelming, because when it's all said and done over 12 months, you're going to have 24 verses. And so it gets hard. It gets hard after, when you hit like 5 and 6 verses, you're like, oh my gosh. But anyway, just choose something that's simple and meaningful for you, because there's nothing better than taking scripture and praying that scripture and giving that away to someone else as you're going through day-to-day regular old living.
Because we want to keep growing.
Yes.
Where there's no such thing as staying the same. We're either moving forward or falling back.
That's right. Angela, it's the end of season 4.
It's crazy.
We'll be back in probably mid-August sometime, and we'll keep social media alive a little bit, but this is really a time for us to rest and recharge and enjoy the summer, enjoy our family. And anyway, but book club. We've got book club. So colloquium. I still can't say it, y'all.
And we sure don't need to spell it, but it's it's coming.
All right, everybody. It's been so fun. If you don't join us for Untangle Your Emotions, we'll be back in August for season 5. Have a wonderful summer. We love you so much. Bye-bye.